All right, so here's the trade recap from yesterday, um, Friday the 21st, which was OPEX. So right off the bat, right, we kind of had maps all over the place in the morning, so there wasn't really anything crazy. The only trade I took was after we lost the previous day high support on QQQ. I took a short back down when SPX also had like this upside capped, and then we had set this downside node on SPY. So that was the only trade I took, and then QQQ caught a bounce from the 710 level that we had, and like we could also say SPX bounced to 7660. I didn't like I didn't really like this setup as so much. It was a failed break of the lows of the IB low, and then we actually got like a full V-band reversal from that. Now, this setup I was targeting the most for today was this 50% retracement on the IB, but it didn't play out. Well, it technically did. Like I still took profit on this trade, but it wasn't as much as I wanted, right? So over here we had the SPX King node at 7680. We also had the SPY King node at 766, and we also had this 713 lingering node on QQQ with the 50% retracement. So I took a short here. This ran on SPX a good 30-50%. To me, anything above 30% could be considered a winning trade. And then I also took this on QQQ, which we only ran like a total of like 40 points on NQ. So it was still 1 to 2 risk reward on the trade. And I ended up getting stopped out in profit. But I was expecting more of a mean reversion. But then we also had a reverse rug that was setting up on SPY and QQQ. And then the Barneys on the upside were also growing on Qs here, right? These Barneys were still pointing higher. So we still had those upside risk. Now, I think the best setup I saw for today was this double top. So over here on what's it called on QQQ, if I come over to my NQ chart and come back onto the 5 minute time frame, because this was in pre-market, we had this double top over here from the 925 candle, right? So this was a short I took where we had this double top right here to the 1150. So I took that short because it was a double top on NQ. So we had this double top pretty much and a failed break of the IB high. Normally when one side of the IB gets broken, which is the low, the high is not really going to have that much of a break because this V-band reversal to break the high it's not likely. It's low probability. So this was a failed break of the high, and then I played these shorts with the fact that we had the SPY 7688 node and also the SPX 7700 node. So I played that deflection there, and then I shorted it back down, and then I got out around like the 618 50% over here at 713. So that was kind of like my one of my main trades, high day top tick for today, and I did catch like a nice bounce down here at the lows because I kind of had a read that we weren't going to sweep out this previous day low, and then we also had a support level over here that I had at around 709 area, and then once we got about above the 710, you had a clear ride back up. So we got above 710, and then we saw there were still Barneys growing to the upside, and I believe SPX had like a small Barney, and then SPY had this small or this big 764 node, which was the king node, and then he shifted it higher. And then we ended up having like some weird price action here where we had like some random like God candle I guess back up over here. And SPX and SPY actually moved way better than QQQ did on this leg down that I caught. And then that was pretty much it. Like mainly the trades for the day kind of diminished. We had this 12.5 weird reverse rug on Qs. I missed out on this just because I've never played a point 0.5 node. So when I had the 12.5, I did say that there was a reverse rug, but to me this reverse rug was like it was like meh, like because the seven I've never played a 712.5, so I was like, like I'll watch it. We also had the alignment with SPY, but I was like, yeah, I'll sit out of this one. And then we ended up just getting the squeeze higher. So that was that. But we could see once we got like a failed break of like the IB low, like they also got the retest here. So like we formed like a double bottom and they retested the IB low again and showed it as support and a failed break. And then we could kind of expect that the IB high wasn't going to have a strong break to the upside. So that's kind of how I was able to also top tick the short with some technical analysis of that double top. And then like my risk factor was the 716 node on here on Qs. So that's like where my stop was pretty much above. So yeah, hopefully this helps a lot. This day was is OPEC, so there was a lot of nodes just moving all over the place, which we could kind of expect. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.